But somebody overnight who's got it right is David Cameron. Now, of course, remember, the death of Sir David Amess was not that long ago. And indeed, the trial took place just the other day. And the murderer was an Islamic extremist who had been referred to Prevent, the organisation that is there to try and help to attempt to de-radicalise people. But David Cameron read an article in the Times today, and I could scarcely believe some of it. Indeed, he wrote at one point, when he's talking about some Muslim groups who are saying to Prevent, look, we don't need you to get involved. We don't need the police to get involved. We will do all of this within our own communities. Cameron says, instead, the view seems to be that extremism should be dealt with by communities rather than by authorities. That is deeply worrying. We are one country with one legal system which protects all of us. Any notion of separate systems threatens the very cohesion we need to foster. And I've got to say, David Cameron, I agree with that absolutely 100%. So what is going wrong? Why are these groups not communicating? Why is government not getting a little bit tougher with them? Why has David Cameron effectively come out of political retirement to make these very, very important points? And of course, he also argues that there are problems with far-right extremism in the country too. But the idea, he says, that Prevent should be rubbished by those who are attempting to prevent Prevent from doing their job, this is plain wrong. Well, Sam Armstrong is Director of Communications for the Henry Jackson Society think tank. Sam, it is very interesting what Cameron said, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And it's nice to see someone who's been right at the very top of government saying it. There's been a lot of us that have been pointing out for some time that Prevent is a programme that the government almost was embarrassed to admit it had for several years. It was set up under Blair, who, much like Cameron, was actually always quite sound on the issue of extremism and Islamism in this country. And it was almost immediately attacked and decried as persecuting those in the Muslim community. And that's actually despite the fact, when you dig into the statistics, that despite the fact that MI5's 90% of their terror watch list are Islamist, actually more than twice as many far-right extremists are getting referred to Prevent than are Islamists. And even those...
Who does the referrals to Prevent?
This is part of the problem. It's done by teachers, hospital workers, right, community leaders, often people in the public sector, some of whom have that famous left-wing bias that we know of. And I know of cases in which people who have shared or liked your videos of you talking around immigration in and around a school who have been referred to Prevent. That is not any indicator of terrorist threat whatsoever. Yet I'm afraid actually the programme has been captured and turned into a system in which really the people who are the threat are slipping through the cracks.
So there's no question, there's absolutely no scintilla of idea that Prevent is disproportionately looking at cases of Islamic extremism. That's out of the window, and I get that. But if it doesn't get cooperation from the Muslim Council of Great Britain, from all of these different organisations, where do we go from here?
Well, I think you're right to identify the fact that it has a problem reaching those that need it most. What I would say is David Cameron is absolutely right. If the community is not prepared to engage, and all too much of it, I'm afraid, isn't, then the state has to get tougher. It has to go in there and say, no, young man, some of the stuff you're going around saying and doing is unacceptable. If you continue down this line, we're going to look at mandatory coercive action, including prosecuting you for some of the lower level terrorist offences, or you can engage in this programme. But it is not helped by so-called Muslim leaders, many of whom have got blue ticks on Twitter, big names, columns in The Guardian, are actively attempting to undermine a programme that is designed to keep all of us safe.
So where does the buck stop? Is it with the Home Secretary?
It's with the Home Secretary. It's gone out to a review being done by William Shawcross, who's a good man who'll do a good job of the review. Yeah. The Home Secretary's already said that she wants to restore the imbalance, so we actually deal with far, far more Islamist extremism cases and far fewer far-right cases, proportionately within the programme. So I think there's some good stuff coming, but sadly, it's too late in a sense. Ali Harbi Ali, the man who killed Sir David Amess, He'd been referred to Prevent, should have been taken up.
And he's not the only example, is he?
More than 50% of recent terrorist attacks in this country have been people who are, quote-unquote, known to the authorities.
Sam Armstrong, it's an issue that will come back again and again and again. Thank you for helping explain Prevent to us.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.